Hello, artists, and welcome to another episode of scratch that. Coloring Science. Today we're going to color the guinea pig. So I'm using Procreate, as you guys probably know if you watch these videos. It's an app on the iPad Pro, but I'm doing this with tools that imitate colored pencils. So you could do the same process with colored pencils. And I would recommend doing it on a tone paper like a gray or a tan. And right now you can see I've already started. I've got my white pencil going here. And I'm just adding some of the white tone for the face. I wanted to do this, I wanted to draw this, or color this rather, just like you would color it if you were doing this with colored pencils. So you kind of can see the technique. Now, it took me about 16 minutes or so to do this coloring, and I want you to be aware that if I was coloring this um, for real, I guess you could say, I mean, I did color it for real, okay, but if I was like coloring it for a commission or something like that, it would take me a lot longer. I didn't want to do that because I didn't want you guys to sit here for like an hour or two watching me color a guinea pig, but you'll get the general idea. So here I'm still coloring the face of the guinea pig, and something to pay attention to is when you're coloring fur, and there's going to be a lot of fur on the guinea pig, you want to pay attention to the way the fur is going and what kind of fur it is. So on the face of this guinea pigs come in a lot of different styles, but this one is your standard sort of short-haired guinea pig, and it's got those sort of short hairs on their face. They don't stick out a lot. They're kind of going mostly in an up and down pattern, but you want to follow that fur, and you'll see that kind of change. Now I'm also just kind of putting in a base coat. A good way to draw fur when you're using material, a media like colored pencils, is to start with kind of a mid range, and then you can add some darker colors as well as highlights. So here I'm just kind of putting in this base coat of colored pencil, and I'm just going to get it in there so that all the white is white, and then I'm going to add whatever other colors I want to do. Now I said welcome artist, by the way. I don't know if any of you guys caught that. I usually say hello everyone, or I think I said hello artist this time. And the reason I did that is because I want you guys to think of yourselves as artists, because you are artists. And some people ask that question, well, what is an artist? How do I know if I'm an artist? Well, guess what? If you are creating artwork, you are an artist. Now, of course, there's lots of different levels of artists, and there's professional artists and all these sorts of things, but none of that really matters. If you're creating artwork, if you drew this guinea pig, if you're coloring a guinea pig, if you're drawing and coloring anything, you're painting, sculpting, whatever it is, you are an artist. Wear that badge proud, because not everybody even tries. So no matter what level you're at, wear it proud. You are an artist. Now, if you want to know what a professional artist is, I have this conversation with my mother, who's a very talented artist, and she says, I'm not a professional artist. She doesn't even like to call herself an artist. She is totally an artist. She's a professional artist. She would be shocked. Well, she probably will watch this video. You'll be shocked, mother. But the definition of a professional artist is somebody who creates art and then sells their art or makes money creating art. So it could be a commission, could be selling finished pieces. Well, she does that. She is a professional artist, and a good one. So, all right, so here we go. I'm almost done filling in the white on this guinea pig's head and around the neck. And you can see I'm still being very aware of the direction that I'm coloring these strokes, even though this is a base coat. Okay, I'm still doing that. Now if I was just trying to color in a solid coat that wasn't fur, I'd probably do little circles. But since this is fur, I'm just going with those lines. Okay, so now what I want to do next is I'm going to pick the next color. Now, this guinea pig is kind of your standard guinea pig with the sort of orangish red fur, the white fur, and then the black fur. That's kind of what I went with, kind of your normal standard guinea pig. And I'm going to add a little pink for the nose. Now, this is subtle. Sorry, I'm doing this as a voiceover. I don't remember what I did in the right order. But I'm adding the pink here for the nose, and this is a little bright, probably. You can dull this down. If you use the wrong color, you could dull it down by just picking maybe a gray or maybe a darker color, even a brown, or even going over with the white would help to dull this down. Now, what I like to do when I'm doing colored pencil, and usually I do this digitally too, but I didn't in this case, is I will have like a swatch, a little scrap piece of paper, the same kind of paper I'm working on. That's important. And I will use it as my tester so I can test my colors. Because even if you know your colors really well, if you're using a different colored paper, even a different type of paper, those colors may look a little different. So now I'm using a, not quite a black, but a dark gray. And, if you don't have a dark gray, then use black. Just color a little lighter. You can even go over it with white, and that'll dull it a little bit. And these are the ears I'm filling in there. Now, the ears are not super fuzzy, not super furry. There are some hairs on there, but I'm still trying to go in the direction of those hairs. Now we've got the kind of reddish brown color. And again, I'm following the pattern of the fur. So look how I'm going to change these strokes. Right now I'm going up and down. And now look at that. I'm trying to also make, this is a little longer hair, so I'm trying to make my strokes a little bit longer as well to sort of match that. So I'm going to just kind of draw in from the eye now, kind of going on maybe a 45-degree angle down, because that's the direction of the fur. So when you're drawing something like a guinea pig, painting a guinea pig, coloring a guinea pig, it's why it's so important to look at a live guinea pig or look at photo references. You may not know automatically which way that fur goes. I have to look at references for animals that I'm even familiar with, or if I do, I'll usually get a better result. So, I draw a lot of sharks. I can draw sharks. I can draw different species of sharks without a reference, but even then, even though I've drawn hundreds, when I look at a reference, my drawings always come out a little better because I don't remember every detail. I don't memorize every detail in every situation. So that's how you learn. That's how you build that mental library in your brain. And then you can refer to that. You won't always have to look at as much reference, but artists always look at reference. There aren't any artists out there that just draw from their imagination. Well, I shouldn't say there aren't any. I'm sure there are some that do. There's always an exception, right? I should know that as a science person. But most artists look at reference. Even if they're drawing aliens or monsters, they're looking at references of things in most cases to help guide their imagination. Because if you want to make a monster or an alien look more believable, then you want to look at real creatures. Maybe you're going to borrow very directly from those real creatures. Maybe you're just going to get an idea of, hey, what are some different scale patterns? How do scales lay on the skin of animals? There are things in nature that tend to be more common. And yeah, there are probably exceptions, but if you stick with the things that are more common when you're drawing that strange alien or monster, it's going to make it more believable to the viewer. All right, so I've still got this gray. Again, this is kind of a black fur, but I'm doing the gray because I want to leave myself the option to be able to go in with darker colors and lighter colors. Now, if you get a decent type or brand of colored pencil, you're going to be able to have a little bit of leeway as far as putting light colors over a dark color. And I will tell you that the paper can affect that. So make sure when you're coloring with colored pencils that one, you get paper that is designed for pencils and colored pencils if you can find that, which, Michael's art supply stores, they'll tell you a lot of times on the sketchbooks or whatever, the paper, what it's designed for. Don't get a real smooth paper if you're doing colored pencils, or you're not going to have the same results. Maybe you're looking for those results, but if you want to be able to layer colors and things like that, you want a little bit of tooth, a little roughness to your paper. Also, get some decent colored pencils. You don't have to break the bank and buy the 72 set of Prismacolors. It's super expensive, but get a smaller pack of Prismacolors. Get quality colored pencils over quantity colored pencils. In other words, don't buy that cheap set of Crayolas. They're cheap for a reason. Unless you're coloring like a coloring book or something, or just doing basic coloring, that's fine. Crayola, I'm not knocking Crayola, but if you want to layer colors and things like that, you're going to find that you're going to get much better results using a little bit higher quality colored pencil. You don't have to get the most expensive ones. Now here I'm taking a black pencil and I'm starting to add my fur. So I'm making these lines in the direction that I want that fur to go. I'm also kind of paying attention to the length of the stroke for the fur. If it's shorter fur, it's going to be shorter strokes. If it's longer fur, it's going to be longer strokes. And I'm kind of mixing it up, but they're all going basically the same direction. Now, this is another place where I would say if I was doing this, for a person that was ordering a pet portrait for me or something like that, I would take a lot more care with these lines. I wanted to get this done, but it's still going to give you the basic idea. Now, I'm also going to add, for shading, rather than just coloring in, I'm adding more of these black fur lines. See how it's getting a little bit of shading there at the bottom? And this is the underside of the guinea pig. It's got a little bit of shading down there. It's a little shadow cast on there. And I'm going to do the same thing now. I'm taking that orangish color. I'm going to find a little bit darker, like a brown color. This is where those swatches come in, so you can kind of compare your colors. And now I'm adding the fur texture for this one. And again, notice how my lines, the direction has changed a little bit because the fur is changing direction. On that black patch, the fur is pretty much all going down. On the back, well, at the top it's not. On the back, in that middle, in that reddish brown spot, it starts off going up, and then as it goes down the body of the guinea pig, it sort of follows the contour of the body. Not only is this going to make your fur look more realistic, it's also going to let the viewer see the three-dimensional shape of the animal. Okay, so, and just like the black, I'm adding some shading by going in with some darker color. There we go. You see how that's starting to look a little bit more 3D? This is how it's done. Fur seems like a complicated thing. It's actually not. I mean, there's things that you can learn to make your fur better and things like that, but for the most part, fur's not that bad. It's just layering and patience. So now we're doing the face, and it's kind of the same technique here. We're going in with these with this darker color, this brown, more brown tone, and I'm following the lines of the fur. And I'm adding more darker lines at the bottom of the cheek to add a little bit of shading there. Guinea pigs have those big puffy cheeks. There we go. You can really see this animal starting to pop off the page a little bit instead of being a flat image. Now I'm going to do the same thing with the white. I'm going to go in with the gray. Now, if you don't have a gray colored pencil, you probably will. You could use maybe a tan or maybe even black just to go real light. But test it out on that swatch before you just go to town on that. So even white fur is not really going to be white It's going to be kind of an off-white color. It's going to have some darker grays or tans, and then only the highlights are going to be really white, if they're even white. Same with black. Some people say artists never use black. Well, that's not true. Artists do use black, but a lot of things that look black to the eye, an artist will not represent that with a solid black color. Like the fur on the rump of this guinea pig is a good example of that. And I shaded in the nose a little bit to give it a little bit of darkness there. The guinea pig pictures I looked at, they didn't have that super bright nose or anything like that. Or pink nose or dark nose. It's just kind of a dullish, blended into the fur kind of a nose. Well, we're pretty much wrapping up here. I'm just going to add a little bit more pink highlights to the face, but I just wanted to thank you guys for watching. If you enjoy these types of videos, please subscribe to the channel. Give this video a thumbs up on YouTube. Give it a like on Facebook. If you're not a part of our Drawing Science group on Facebook, then go ahead and join that. And here's some white whiskers, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.